Hello, so in this video I'm going to be giving some advice around how to manage your workload, sort of managing stress and those times where you feel overwhelmed by work. So one of the first strategies I wanted to discuss is time batching. So it's something that I realised some people use in social work a while back, where I try and allot time to do similar tasks. And obviously that can't always happen, but it's a good mindset to have around the effectiveness of sort of identifying things that are similar. So say you're writing an assessment and you've got 3 to do, it's good to block out time to do all of those similar tasks, rather than planning doing an assessment and then taking a phone call halfway through it and then going on a visit halfway through and all of those things. And that's something that's really helped me with my productivity, and something that I sort of implement when I'm thinking about what I'm going to put in my online diary as well. There's a really useful book called Eat That Frog, and it's not a social work book, it's just around especially time management techniques and productivity tips, but I found that one of them really helped me in social work, and that's about identifying those tasks that if you don't do them they will cause issues, and there are also tasks that are the highest value, and if you sort of avoid them they can cause you anxiety because you know that they need to be done. So there was things that I sometimes would put off, so a phone call maybe to a family member of someone that I'm involved with, because I work with adults. If I felt like they were just going to be scrutinising what I was saying or questioning me or sort of like taking down every word I say, I would maybe leave that till the end of the day and think, oh, I'll get on with other things now and do that later. But actually the worry about making that phone call would kind of like sort of be in the background all day while I was trying to do other things. So realising that doing that earlier actually made me way better at doing my other work through the day, because I knew that was done, so the worst thing was done, and that made me feel a lot better. Something that often happens in social work is when your to-do list just gets completely out of control, or you find that on different pages you've written notes about situations and it's all becoming just really scruffy. You don't know where to start. So in those situations it can be good to go down your caseload and put them into like a table on Microsoft Word, separate people out, use a colour coding system. So I've shared my system previously with people and I've got a video about that on YouTube already. But then there's also times where I've realised that system, you just can't even use it if you're just under pressure and you're not in a state where you've been able to organise yourself at all. And sometimes you really need to just sort of, maybe it's like a Friday and you've only got like an hour left, you're not going to have time to really organise it really clearly, or maybe you need to talk to your manager and you've got loads of things happening with all your cases and you're not organised. Something that really helps is to go through your caseload top to bottom, write the names down. If you don't have time to write people's full names, just use initials. If there's nothing to do with one of them, just put a dash next to it. And if there's something to remember with each one, just put a tiny note next to each one with all the things you need to remember. And I find that that really helps me, because going through them like that can really trigger your memory, whereas if you go through people not in order, it can kind of leave you in that situation where, like your pages in your notebook, it's just all over the place and you don't know where to start. Whereas if you go through your caseload that way, you're not missing anyone, so you're probably not going to miss anything that you need to remember. And then you can go back to people in the list and add it as you think about it. Something else that's really helped me is reading that Dare to Lead book by Brené Brown, because she really emphasises the importance of being vulnerable and open about how you're actually feeling, and how good managers should be encouraging that, and that makes good leaders. And I think it just really helped me think about that that's healthy. So last week I had a really stressful time, and I think sometimes it can be exaggerated if you're working at home on your own, because you're not with colleagues, so you can't just bounce things off them and then feel okay about it and talk about it. You're just on your own, and sometimes, say you're not getting answers to things on emails, you can feel like ignored, even if you're not being ignored, and everything just gets out of control. So I sort of was honest about this with my manager, and I said, I feel I'm lacking confidence and things, and this is just how I'm feeling. And I managed to sort of communicate that in a way where she realised she needed to spend like an hour with me on the Monday, and that was on the Friday that I felt like that. And it kind of just made me feel more in control for the next week. And I think just having confidence that that's normal and that's a good practice to sort of look after yourself and not always have to be perfect. I think that's a good thing. And then the last couple of things I wanted to say was around boundary setting. So there's a really good book called Boundary Boss around thinking about saying what's okay and not okay for you. That's something that's really important in social work, because I think sometimes we can just say yes to things or think that we'll be able to do something and then realise that we've overcommitted. And I don't want to be naive to say that you don't get things forced upon you in social work as well, because I know that not everyone's working in supportive environments, and I don't want to come across like someone that doesn't know that, because that would just be wrong. But I think that boundary setting book really helped me, because it's something that I personally struggle with. So then there's journaling techniques. So it kind of shows you that writing things down and taking it out of your head and committing it to paper really helps you sort of process information and helps your mental health. I find that that really actually applies to social work as well. So when I was worried that everything was on me with a case that was going really, it felt like it was going wrong and like I really needed to act quickly and that I was on my own, I made a load of bullet points about my concerns and emailed that over to my manager, and it just kind of helped me to feel less alone, but also writing it down helped me to sort of get a logical flow to my thoughts rather than just sort of swimming around with no direction. So there's some of my tips, and I hope they help, and as always, like and subscribe and press the notification bell to be updated of my other videos.